Benton Harbor, Michigan is a unique place on the lake that is home to less than 10,000 people, but with the hearts of 1 million. From the outside looking in, there's a strong emphasis on place. You know, the location on I-94.
He was saying how the women really chase that popular guy. So the guys, they don't want to be good guys. They want to be the bad boy. You know, if you heard nice guys finish last, you know, that's almost a true statement in this community. Like someone told me I was too nice. You know, how do I be too nice to someone? How do you be too nice to someone that you might love, that you love? You know, maybe you should be a little hard. No, don't people changing and not being themselves because that's not what the girl wants. That's not what the women want. And everybody, well, I don't say everybody, but then they want the women. They want the popularity. They want the things that come along with that, the glitz and glamour. So that was something that we talked about. He talked about how much money went through Benton Harbor. And I know people cracked the jokes about the scamming. We chuckled about it, you know, about all the money that went through Benton Harbor as far as the scamming or whatever, you know. Went on this past during the pandemic, and he's like, you know, none of the people really they just got the money and they bought cars, they bought clothes. Nobody invested in nothing. Nobody tried to invest in nothing to get out of it. He was saying, you know, back in the day, he remember even guys that was involved in illegal activity, it was a thing where it was in it, they got out of it, and they made something out of it.
Yeah,
it was like it wasn't nothing they wanted to do forever.
Mm-hmm.
You know? It was something that it was temporarily. You support your family.
Yeah.
You did it and you got out, you know, but now it's just like they want to stay in. They want to, I got the most money. Or I got my watch costs $10,000. So what? You know, it's like who really cares? What does that benefit to watch with $10,000? You know, it just it just don't make, I don't know, it just don't make a lot of sense to me. You know, like we even talked about how, you know, they might you got this $70,000-$80,000 car, but maybe your mom stay in the projects. You know, your mom stay, and I'm not down in the projects right now, but it's just the mentality. You know, again, the mindset of the people here in this community, because it looks good, you know, but to anybody with some sense, that don't look good. You know, your mom struggling or your dad struggling, your grandma struggling, but you got on a $10,000 chain, a $10,000 watch. Make it make sense, because that makes no sense.
Are we? And I can even get this from even the interviews that I've heard that you've done. Is influence is really, it's flashy in this community.
Yeah.
Okay, with saying that, let's pause and actually hear from, as what I call him, Crenshaw. I don't think I ever call him Andre. So I want to hear from Crenshaw in his words.
When you think of influence in this community, what does that look like?
Coming from Benton Harbor, it's more street influence than positive influence. Mm. You know, you gotta look at, you know, if you're a male, you see what the women like. You want to do what it takes to impress the women. And a very high percentage of women are influenced by the street life.
Okay. When you say street life, what do you mean by that?
I mean, you can be a thug, fighting, selling drugs, street life, legal activities.
Legal activities, okay. You think the girls like that, so the guys kind of go to it?
The girls love that. I like it. Love that.
They love it, huh?
They love it.
Okay. When we think about leadership in this community, what does it look like?
You know, my father, Ralph Crenshaw, he was commissioner 30, 40 years. And all it takes is one clown to ruin an organization. You know, they always too old, we need some young blood. They get young blood in there, there's still so much confusion. So, you know, we as Black people got to come together first.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I use my dad as a prime example when they sold parts of Gene Clark Park. And people was complaining, oh, you selling out the city. My daddy said, come on, let's go look. Say, look how filthy it is. Nobody comes to this beach.
Mm-hmm.
We got people coming in, they finna clean it up, put houses around, and we'll make money off of it. Because nobody from my area, we didn't go to Jane Clark Park, it was too dirty.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always...
Yeah, I know I didn't either.
Yeah, it's always in the future. Yeah. So the leadership is not about age, it's about coming together, stop trying to fight. Yeah. We're on the same team, but we fight each other. Everybody ball hog. So we can't get nothing done. Yeah. I talked with another guy, and he said kind of nobody want to follow. Like if you get that one person to lead, you have everybody want to be the lead. Nobody want to follow who in charge. You know what I mean? And nothing wrong with following a great leader. Exactly.
Crenshaw. There's so much that I can say about him, but I just love that he's just so direct. He's just like, no, this is how it is. This is what I see. This is what I know. Mm-hmm. So I'm just really glad that you were even able to have this conversation. I can probably listen to that whole conversation all the way through, but I know for the sake of this podcast and this conversation that we're having, that we do have to break it up a little bit, because I really want to hear what he has to say involving, did he tell any personal stories or any stories when it comes to leadership or power? Because that influence, when he nailed that one, because that's exactly what we see on a daily basis.
Okay, well, let's listen to a little more.
Okay.
Can you tell me about a time when you saw someone demonstrate leadership?
Use my cousin's t-shirt, perfect example. No, I was always a nerd, spoiled, but I was drifting off in that street life. He said, oh, you know what? No, you're not going to live this life. And made me go back to college. Not my parents. I didn't fear, I love my parents, but I didn't fear my parents. Mm-hmm. I feared my cousin's t-shirt. Yeah. So, even though he was a street cat, he still had loyalty and respect, which is the older guys don't have that anymore. Yeah.
And that's something that we talked about, was, he had that older cousin that was an influence on him. Whether his cousin, like he said, was a street guy, he didn't want him to live that life. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times now, the influence, go with that money, little cuz, get that. They encouraging the younger guys to do that, have that fast life, not even since it's so many guys, younger kids here in Benton Harbor with potential, and not just basketball and football, but in their mind, they got potential, but nobody's pushing them to go further in education or further to just do stuff right. Even though what they do, they know is wrong. And nobody's influencing our younger men to just do right, And I think, like me being a passport to manhood guy, yeah, I can say it, and they but I might be this corny guy to them. Mm-hmm. They already look up to the street guy, you know what I mean? So, and we have more of these street guys influencing and not preaching, but, kind of talking to them about where this road ends or where they see their friends have gone, maybe to prison or death or, where the street life ends. Maybe we could change some of the mindset again. You see the keywords, they've been mindset. Mm-hmm, change the mindset of our youth about choosing this path. Because right now, a lot of them caught up in it. Like I got guys that I met a few years ago, maybe at the teen center, and I see in the path that they're going down, and it's just like, it saddens me. I try to talk to them, and it's going one ear and out the other. Mm-hmm. I'm not the street guy. So it's like what your parents might tell you something every day. Hey, RJ, don't do this. RJ, don't do this. Someone that you maybe look up to tell you the same thing that your mother told you 30 days straight, every day out of the month. But this other person that you look up to said the same thing, and it's had a more powerful impact, on your life. And I said we need more positive influence from our street guys to encourage these young men. It's another way.
Now, I'm not sure if he says it during you all's conversation, but I feel like it's important to tie in the name or the cousin that Crenshaw mentions, even when it comes to the impact on 49022, and a little bit of history. We're talking about 2003. Was that 3? 2003.
I think it was 2003. Yep, 2003.
Yeah, summer of 2003. Yep. And how people still continuously tie us back to that day, but don't know of the history that even happened before that led us to what happened on that day. So he talks about his cousin T-Shirt, but I didn't know if he talks about what happened to T-Shirt during your conversation. If not, I feel like we just need to give the people a little bit of background.
No, we didn't talk about it. But as you know, and I know, that's what started the riot that we had here in Benton Harbor. T-Shirt was a young man riding it on his motorcycle in the inner city of Benton Harbor and was chased by the police and flew off his motorcycle and passed away. So that was a very trying time in Benton Harbor. And the community, the community rioted on, was it Empire and Broadway? For like a few days. Yeah. But it was a very trying time in the Benton Harbor community. He was a well beloved man in Benton Harbor, But yeah, that was the cousin that he was referring to about teaching him, the right and the wrong, and forced him, hey, you need to go to college. This life not for you.
Yeah.
He said he was leaning toward, wanting to be like his cousin, the street life.
Yeah.
But he said, his cousin wanted better for him, So I think that's big, that made him change his mind, said, okay, maybe I can do something else, But like I said, we need more of those. We need more T-shirts around here that's encouraging their family and their friends to do positive instead of, even though I'm doing negative, I don't want you to be like me. I want you to be better than me. I know you heard that saying before.
Yeah.
We need more people giving that. More people giving that spiel. So I go into more of the interview.
Okay.
If you see somebody that can beat potential, look, this is not the life for you.
Yeah. So you say probably a lot of the street guys now are probably, you said they're encouraging the younger guys to live the street life too.
Be honest, the older guys jealous and hating on the younger guys. Not trying to motivate. I mean, the older guys really ain't got nothing to show for nothing.
Yeah.
At a certain age, it's time to leave a certain life alone. It's on death or jail. Or be a snitch.
Yeah.
And you see that so much, she'll make you want to get out with this. I gotta, it's a drug. I gotta do this on social media. I gotta get the women. After a certain age, it's time to raise your family.
Yeah. That's a lot of lack of that amongst the men raising families. Okay. As a community member.
Let me see. I believe we have a wonderful mayor. But I think some people don't know what the mayor's job is. I believe they want the mayor to be out here picking up the trash every day. They want the mayor to be at every hot spot. They want the mayor to do a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't even think they get paid much down there, if they even get paid. But people complain, but what are you doing for your neighborhood? I see people complaining, but you look at their house, you look outside their house filthy.
Yeah.
Should the mayor come clean your nasty yard up?
Yeah.
But you complain about how the city is looking, how the city is run. But most times it's your kids and your family members that's causing the ruckus.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do?
And that's where a lot of the influence come from, starting with family. I always tell people like, you had this station before about how the older generation, and I'd even say our age, 35 to 40 and older, even on social media, they act a fool. They're clowning. They putting up things that's embarrassing. So what do we expect? Because we giving that influence. What do we expect the children to do?
Let me tell you something. I don't believe nothing my daughter said, a teacher said to them. But see, so many people can't control that moment. So many kids say, the teacher say, I should be dead. But now you're going up there cussing the teacher out, ready to fight the teacher. When the teacher really said, if you don't stay out of these streets, you're going to end up dead. So the elders,
the youngins ain't got nobody to look up to. Yeah. Yeah, I can agree with that. I say I try to be, and that's why I try to be a positive influence working in the team. So we need more people to start. Once on this COVID gone, and we need people, positive people, to start coming and volunteering. You can't hire the whole city, but getting some positive people, and maybe yourself. I know a person like I always say a guy like John Moore would be a good influence on a lot of the younger guys. He a guy that he might show up in a nice car. To the kids, they think, or the younger folks. I don't think just the kids, but the younger folks see him come up with that nice. Oh, he a drug dealer, but no, he a really intelligent young man. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's it's just like we need more of those influences. Okay, the pastor and the drug dealers who got the nice stuff. You know what I mean? But you can actually be a working person and have nice things. But our younger generation, they don't believe that. And we talked about he talked about in that he said he don't believe nothing his daughter say the teacher said. When you got the parents, they just cuss you out. They cussing teachers out, asking questions later. They don't care. Are they just spending these kids for anything? No, your kid knew it was a hall sweep, and your kid got caught in it. It's just like we got to start holding each other. We had to hold our kids. We got to be accountable. Mm-hmm. Nobody want to be accountable for nothing. Everybody want they want no rules, and it just can't. You can't go through life like that, And that's why our kids think they can do and say whatever they want to say, whatever they want to do, because nobody's holding them accountable for their actions. Like I don't care where the teacher from. I very seriously doubt like a kid say, "Hey, you gonna be dead." Like he said, it was a whole different way wording, but the kids take it and they run with it, and the parents ready to snap. Nobody talk to my baby like that. We gotta teach younger people to have conversations where they might disagree. Mm-hmm. And it's okay to disagree, but listen sometime. Get the whole story. From that teacher, get the whole story. It is like holding them accountable. Mm-hmm. Nobody want to be held accountable, which is an issue. It's an issue. I talk to our kids now. Hey, getting up for class, and I can't get up that early. Well, I'm like, what time did school start when we was in classroom? Now they can't get up early because it's online. Why not? You're making excuses or why you can't get up. I don't buy it. So I hope our youth, and I've been encouraging them, hey, get up, do your work, do your work. Because they thinking because this is COVID, when stuff open back up, stuff going to be sweet. I don't might end up behind because no one's pushing them. Nobody's holding them accountable. They're not in the classroom. And the parents are not holding them accountable. Parents, make sure your kids are doing the work. Hold them accountable for what they need to be doing, because when the world open back up, they're going to have them grades that they not been able to get up and go to class for. I had one young lady, she said her sister told me, she go to class, she the only person in the classroom. None of the parents are checking. They're not emailing the teachers. But when those grades come out, who they gonna blame? It's the teacher's fault. Oh, it's the superintendent. It's the superintendent's fault. Yeah, it's everybody else's fault, but the child and their parent. It's gonna be Miss RJ's fault. Yeah, it's gonna be everybody else's fault. Gonna be my fault. Their fault because they're not holding them accountable.
And that definitely goes back to leadership, not just in an elected, but leadership inside of the home. Like you are a leader for your child or your grandchild or whomever your guardian is. You are that child's leader. So even if it's leading by example by you getting up and going to work, you need to get up and log into class.
Yep.
So what does Crenshaw have to say about power?
Let me see where we at.
Fast money fast. Yeah, the fast money. Make it fast, blow it fast, end up with nothing.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. Do you believe it's a lot of pressure to be in a leadership role in this community?
Depends on who you are. If you got some nice people on your team, can't let Ben Harbor get to you. You can't be weak. I'll tell you that.
As a leader, can't be weak.
You can't. Because Ben Harbor eats you alive.
Yeah. Like, for example, you just say Ben Harbor eat you alive. You can't be weak. That was a good point. I like him. So you gotta have tough skin. Yeah, you gotta have tough skin being a leader in Ben Harbor. Saying about the mayor, the streets, some of the streets, not all of them got fixed, but a lot of them got fixed. So a lot of people go, oh, good job, we got the streets fixed, Mayor. But then other people like, hey, they speeding down the streets too fast. What we gonna do, Mayor? Like, what do you want them to do?
They put speed, they want Mayor to be out.
So it was just like, what do you want them to do? And nobody's perfect, but I even talked to a person one time. They was talking about the mayor and his leadership. They was like, he be at the parties, or he want to be down. So I'm just like, I know a certain time. He not at the parties smoking. I don't see him there drinking. He just there seeing what's going on in his community. I think a lot of people in leadership, a lot of people in those leadership roles, they're afraid to interact with their community. Yeah. Like I said, even before he came married, I would see him on Empire, Broadway, whether it was for the Muslim nation, selling bean pies, or whatever he was doing. He wasn't afraid to come in the heart of the city. And a lot of these folks that claim to be leaders, and you won't see them in the heart of the city. You won't see them in the heart of the city. I commend some of the stuff he's doing. Do we got still a long way to go? Yeah. But just like it's too many guys just thinking negative and don't want to look at none of the positive. I see it all day long. All the murders going on. They blame the mayor. Like when you should be watching your kid and taking some ownership for what you're doing with your younger folks. They want to blame the mayor for all the police. He need to get more like he just hires the police. It's all coming out of his pocket to hire police. So when I talk about leadership with people, a lot of people come down on the mayor because he's the mayor. You know what I mean? So, but it's more to it. I don't really think, like you said before, I don't really think they know what the mayor's job is.
And they gotta understand it costs to hire police. Where the mayor gonna get the money from?
True.
Anybody try to donate? Everybody seems like this summer, everybody have a nice little amount of money.
Yeah.
And nobody say, hey man, could you start a police fund? And how much for a police for the part-time? Everybody enjoy the summer. Money.
Yes. Even whether it was illegal. Whether it was legal or illegal. You got that right.
It's almost like who held the power this summer.
Who inspires you in this community? The people. The people was living it up. It was like me and him just said, it was a lot of money, legal or illegal. I'm not sure, but it went through the city. And it's like he get the money fast and blow it fast. It's like that's the game. Get it fast and blow it fast instead of maybe investing in a part in the interview. Not sure exactly where it's at, but he talked about how he liked to tell people he big on the auction and the houses when the auctions go for the houses.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
A lot of the houses be cheap. And he was just like, he tell people about some of the people with money, they tell them about the houses and he said they really don't want to hear because they don't want to invest. They don't want to come out of the game. They don't want to get into the legal way of making some money. They want to stay in that game, in that illegal game. And what we talked about earlier, get it if you in. And we wasn't condoning that life, but if you're in it, get in and get out. Do what you need to do and get out of it.
Yeah,
it's going to lead to jail or death, and that's the place we don't want to see. We're seeing too much of that in this community.
Way too much.
We're seeing young men dying. We're seeing young men going to prison again, leaving their families, leaving their children, leaving their wives, leaving their mothers. Mourning. And there go again, the absent father to these angry young men. Like me and him kind of talked about it. I did
like I said, I'm not just because he was just because he's my pops, but Ralph Crenshaw, just
his dad inspired him.
I seen him try to help so many people. Educated man. So I'm gonna send my dad around Crenshaw, and always spoke, treated people with respect, just helped anybody. So that's somebody I always respect and try to take after. For me, I always try to help people. I mean, you got to watch people. Sometimes people have evil intentions, so you got to be careful who you watch. So I got to send my father around Crenshaw.
Okay. And that's a good thing to hear.
Yeah.
So the young man is yourself, inspired by your father. That's not something you'll talk to a lot of young people and they say. I mean, I know that sounds bad, but it's reality.
Father in the home is like
almost that. Yeah, it's not even normal to have your father at home. I did a project. That's when I kind of talked about my project that I did with some youth.
Yeah.
And I had them write a letter to their father, whether good or bad. But you had your father right here in front of you. What would you say? And I had them write a letter, and only person who read the letters was me. I didn't give them to nobody else to read. They were angry. I had a few young men that might have some good things to say about their father, but the young men, they were angry. They were frustrated for their father not being there, for their father being absent, for their father not dealing with them for whatever reasons, not coming to support them for their basketball games, their football games, just being there for that support. And I know personally it means a lot having your father or just having a support system there to support you. I always talk to a lot of coaches how many parents that don't show up. I always hear our baseball coach. He always talks about how we can have a home game and we got more parents than came from Kalamazoo than we got here in our own town in Benton Harbor, Michigan. You might got 2-3 parents out there. They got 15 parents that came from Kalamazoo. That's a part of just supporting our youth. Making them believe in themselves, showing that we care about them, and that we support them. They're not even getting that from their homes. So it's just a tough topic to talk about with our young people, because they lacking that support. You can get support from other people, but it means a lot when your family, when your parents support you. We give a little more than an interview. Here we go. I kind of talked about this, what I just was talking about.
Wait, before you start, I have a small story of the connection of even like when we talk about legacy of leadership and influence. I was a guest on a show with Mr. Ricky Hill. He does a show on Fridays. And on this particular episode, he had basically an elder or a baby boomer and a millennial, which was myself. And, you do the same thing even at the teen center with our young people. You ask, who are your people? And, being from this small community, we're always asking each other, well, who are you related to? Who are your people?
Yeah.
So Mr. Crenshaw did that to me, and Mr. Ricky Hill was kind of running down like my family tree, and Mr. Crenshaw leaned in and said, your grandfather got me my first job. Mm-hmm. And I sat there like, what? He said, the job that I retired from, your granddad put his name on the line to get me that job. And just hearing that, it was, and then hearing how, like, my grandfather modeled leadership, being the justice of the peace and, being very involved in politics and passing that on to me, just that model of leadership and influence. And then hearing how that same impact has been with Mr. Crenshaw and his son, Andre. It's like, how do we get away from that? Or how do we even go back to that? I think that is like seeing examples of that. Not only just in your household, but in your community, and just saying like, I want to be more like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wanted to share that personal story because I thought that was like the coolest thing because I really don't hear a whole lot because I don't really tell people like who I am, or when people say, oh, your last name is Williams, you must be related to this, that. I'm like, no, you probably don't know my people. Like, they older or they're deceased. So, but yeah, just hearing that was pretty cool. But you wanted to get back to what Andre had to say.
Yeah, let's go.
Me working at the teen center, and I had quite a few boys. Letter. Hey, as these young father, you used to write them a letter. Anger, a lot of anger, and I see why a lot of them may be struggling in certain areas because they angry.
You gotta understand, you're always gonna love your mother, and you could be 50 years old, you're still gonna be scared of your mother. So in the streets, ass whooping, your mom and the ass whooping from the streets is two different things. Okay, mom ain't gonna really hurt me, but okay, I'm off in these streets now. You need that father figure that's just gonna chastise you, since you ain't gonna buff up at your dad, and it's just. I understand these young girls make mistakes. You can't tell who's gonna be a deadbeat, but it's just like I lose the respect when there's 2, 3, 4 kids, all of them deadbeat, baby daddies. I can't feel sympathy. I feel sympathy for the kids. But you knew this guy was absolutely nothing. Had absolutely nothing to offer. And that's what you get pregnant by. And that mentality, until they break that mentality, it can't get better in the black community because you need positive black. I mean, even if you was in the streets, okay, bam, look, I got this money, I flipped it, I left it alone. That can motivate, okay, but it's no motivation. Positive motivation, no positive motivation.
Okay. What does power and influence look like in this community?
Power and influence. I believe what we need. Okay, we need more police. But with power and influence, I wish they had a program where a young man from our community graduated 18 and it was a fund. I don't know how much school costs or they paid for. We need people in our community. Come on, I got a college degree, no criminal record. When I get pulled over, they just see the color of the skin. So with that power, I'm a black man, I'm going to work and who wants to get disrespected by the police? Yeah. And they don't, not all, but a very high percentage, you hear the racist jokes, the ha. What's funny? Somebody's laying there dead. What's so funny? They don't have respect. So we need somebody in our community to, okay, today was a year ago, his mom got killed, okay? I'm going to talk with him instead of taking him to jail and rough him up. Because once you get in that system over that Barron County, you don't get sentenced once you get in power. You commit a crime, they don't sentence you on a crime. You get sentenced off the color of your skin first. Then you get sentenced. Okay. So, the power, we don't have the power right now. We know who has the power.
I had someone tell me,
now, but there we talked about, he was talking about how we maybe need more police officers from the community. And I know me and you had this conversation before, even about teachers from the community, that live in our communities. That was a big thing when we were younger. Yeah. A lot of police officers, they lived in the community. The teachers stayed in the community, went to church with some of these same people. So they cared about the community. They knew your family. They because like I say, it's a small town. A lot of people knew everybody. So it was just like the respect was there from both parties, from the adults to and the adults actually cared because they might have knew your Aunt Robert Jean or your Aunt Sally Mae. They knew them. So it was just that togetherness we had back then, and that's lost here now. We got a lot of outsiders coming in to fulfill these jobs. Like why none of these jobs are going to Benton Harbor people? Yeah, we got teachers. We got a lot of teachers and officers in Kalamazoo,
Grand Rapids.
Grand Rapids, like, then we can't pay the teachers. Like, it's like we gotta find a solution to bring that back, bring our people back here. We got scholars.
Mm-hmm.
We got scholars. We're not sure no matter what they say about Benton Harbor High School, people coming out of that Benton Harbor High School, and they're being successful. But that's not being put on the forefront.
Mm-hmm.
Being in the Black community, that's why I hate to watch the news. It's always, it's always some negative stuff, that's glorified. The articles, there's always some negative stuff, whether bigging up that positive thing that young man or that young lady did, or that person, period. Whether, no matter the age, we always glorify the negative, and the news glorifies the negative. Nobody wants to hear positive. Like social media is another outlet for the community, another news outlet. Like I can get on social media 7, 8 o'clock in the morning and find out what happened last night.
Yeah.
No matter was it a fight, whether it was somebody arguing, whether somebody that died, sad to say. And the family don't even know yet, but it's on social media. But it's just like we just gotta stop glorifying the negativity in this community. And because people hurting. People are really hurting in this community. And we gotta start the healing process. That's why I love what you do with the grief. Shouts out to that too.
Thank you. And it is grief.
But a lot of people need that,
Yeah. Yeah.
Right on cue.
So, what was your biggest takeaway from even participating in this project? And are you willing to participate in more opportunities to collect stories, especially of people in the community of Benton Harbor?
I really enjoyed this process, and the people that I interviewed, I really enjoyed the conversations. Because these are conversations that need to be had, but they're not being had, So, like, I'm giving people an opportunity. I think we're giving people an opportunity to express how they really feel about the community, because they probably won't have these conversations with no one but maybe their friend or their homeboy, homegirl. They're not sharing it with people outside of their circles. Giving the people an opportunity to talk about how they feel about the community, how they think we could change, what they think influences or what leadership is in our community. I think it's a good outlet for the people. And then some of it, just interviewing the people, kind of helped me, help me in the process, Like when Andre said something about his father inspired him, it kind of hit me. I'm just like, us as Black fathers, like he said, a lot of them, it's a big percentage of us not in a home with our children. I have 3 kids of my own, and we all got to do better. I have to do better, and I'm encouraging all men in this community to do better, because our children need us. And that was a big key that I got from that conversation. It's just like, okay, I would love for my kids to grow up, and if someone asked them that question about what inspired them, to say, hey, my dad inspired me to do this or do that, and positive things, So that was something that I really took, which was big, because every day you just don't hear a young Black man say, oh, they're inspired by their father. It's always an athlete or entertainer. Well, I want to be that guy that can be that. So, like I say, I can start today. We start doing better, and I end up and start doing better, and let's try to take back our community. Because right now, the drug dealer or the media, the social media, they're controlling it. We got to start with us. We got to start with us. We got to make some, like you said, you blame the mayor for everything. What are you doing for your community? What are you doing for your street? What are you doing for your yard? Like you walk through and you see the houses and trash all in the yard. You don't go to the other communities and see this. I can go right across that bridge. I don't see trash on the streets. I don't see trash in the yards. They take pride in their homes. We got to start taking pride in something besides negative things. You know, we gotta start doing better. We're taking pride of where we live and how we live, showing better examples for the youth. You know, because a cliche, children are the future, which is big, and I believe that 100% that kids are the future. But we gotta set the path. We gotta show them the right way because they don't know, and we don't got all the answers. That's why we gotta come together and work as a team, as a unit, to push this city forward, this great city of Benton Harbor forward.
Well, that's it. Thank you for talking with us today, Larry, and even sharing the conversations that you had with some of our community members and how we can hopefully impact change on the 49022, especially with using these stories, using our voices more than anything. So we will see you guys again next week when it comes to hearing about these stories and around influence, power, and leadership in the 49022. See you then.
Live in peace.
I believe that this series, Everyday People, the 49022, is almost over. Can you believe it? I can't either. But clearly, we are past. We've given you more episodes because we've had more conversations, and we'll be wrapping up this series in just a few more episodes. But that wraps up our conversation with Larry today. So you have to come back next week so we can give you a little bit more. Okay? See you then.